Good evening, everyone, and great to see you at the Power of Passive Investing meetup. We have an incredible meetup today and really happy to see you all with us. And we have an amazing guest, Matt Faircloth, with us. And today's meetup is going to be not like a typical one where you listen to a presenter and then get to ask him or her questions for 2 minutes. This is going to be quite different. Matt offered it to be very interactive. And for those that don't know Matt, well, I can tell you that you missed out on a lot, but today is your chance to get to know him. Matt is not only a successful investor, syndicator, great husband, father, friend. I mean, I know Matt longer than I know all of you, actually. Yeah, I don't even remember how many years, but it's
Long
been quite
time.
a while. Yeah, you and Liz both. I mean, I love you guys. But on top of it, I mean, Matt is an author. He writes for Bigger Pockets. He is an absolutely amazing presenter. I was just complimenting him one more time on him being so engaged when he speaks to the audience. Matt is super engaged and like easy to understand, easy to follow, and extremely, extremely entertaining all the time. So Matt, I'm thrilled to have you here with us for sure. Guys, this is the usual disclaimer. We're not selling anything. This is for educational purposes only. Whatever you learn, take it with a grain of salt and then take it to your CPA or attorney and then make a decision. You don't need to mute yourself, as I mentioned. In fact, I want you all to unmute yourself and turn on the cameras and be ready to ask Matt questions in just a couple of minutes. If you prefer, we ask Matt questions, just post them in the chat and I'll ask questions on your behalf. Our next meetup is actually going to be another interactive session in January on the first Wednesday of the month on January 5th. We're going to have a networking event, just like usual. We'll split you in breakout rooms and let you talk to one another. And then we'll switch the rooms every 15 or 20 minutes or so. And as always, Matthew and I are thrilled to have you with us. This is our contact information. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out anytime. And without further ado, Matt, I want to give you the floor. Please give us a little bit of your bio for the folks that maybe don't know you yet, and then we'll let them ask you questions.
No problem. Yeah. Thank you, Elena. And thank you, Matthew, for having me here. So my name is Matt Faircloth. I'm the co-founder of the DeRosa Group. I always get the mirror backwards here. The DeRosa Group here. My wife and I founded that company going up on 16 years ago. That's when I quit my job and we, I went to invest full time and lived off of her income and we built a business on that. So I'm going to tell you a bit of my story and then I'll drop in conversation potentials that we can get into. Okay. So how to quit your job to invest full time is something I can have done I know many people that have done it, and I can talk to you at length about how to quit your job, because you don't just have to have a spouse to live off of. There's like probably 3 ways that I've figured out how to quit your job and invest in real estate full time. So let's put that on the shelf, right? Then we scaled up and primarily stuck with residential housing. Done some commercial investing, done some tech investments, done about 4 dozen fix and flips in that. And we've invested through several market cycles. So I am happy to talk to you guys about what I think about today's market and where I think things are going. So let's put that on the shelf too, if you guys want. So that's another conversation we can have. And so we did the flips. We've scaled into small multifamily, and we got into my company owns 1,350 units now in residential real estate, primarily in mid-size multi, which is a space we got into about 6 years ago. We were raising capital for small and mid-size real estate deals, mostly in Trenton, New Jersey. Thanks to Bigger Pockets, thanks to just doing the right thing by people over and over and over and over again, we started to generate more and more investors. And so we want to put more and more capital to work. We also were getting better and better at residential landlording. put that on the shelf. Full-time residential landlord, absolute, like hands-on residential landlord, leased apartments, collected rent, that whole thing. I know how to do that. So I can, of course, talk about today's rental market, talk about eviction moratoriums, talk about where I think things are going on the tenant side, talk about anybody that is a full-time hands-on direct landlord. I can certainly talk about that. All that's conversation potentials there. Then we got into raising capital, kind of stumbled into it, because Liz, I married a very, very smart woman and who went to University of Pennsylvania, and one of her UPenn graduates from Wharton, she's sitting and having coffee with, and they're telling them what her and I are up to. And she's like, oh, my husband's investing in real estate. And this person is now a stockbroker on Wall Street and says, real estate, I'd love to invest in real estate too, but I just don't have the time. Right. So she says, you should talk to my husband. And that's that. From that meeting, I went up and met this person in Manhattan, and we struck up a conversation and began potential investment conversations and just kind of figured out an equity arrangement that worked. So this is not, I didn't go to some run to the back of the room guru course. We just kind of figured it out together and got a lawyer involved, and they helped us assemble this partnership. And that was my first syndication. That was what you could call DeRosa Capital One, like the first DeRosa Group syndication. We are now launching, we're closing out DeRosa Capital 13 and 14 now, and we're about to launch DeRosa Capital 15. So we've done this a lot, and we've raised a lot, raised millions of equity for small deals. That investor in Manhattan put in 50K, right? That was my first syndication, $50,000, that bought 2 single-family homes in Trenton, New Jersey, right after the crash. Fast forward up to us about to raise 22 million for our next deal. So I can talk to you guys about the process of scaling. And of course, I wrote the book For Bigger Pockets on raising private capital. So, and this is not all about just raising money for apartment buildings, because believe it or not, you actually can invest in other things besides apartment buildings. So there are other investment vehicles out there. So we can talk about other ways to make money in real estate besides buying multifamily. That's another thing we can talk about too, if you guys want. Let's see. But of course, we can talk about raising capital. I can talk a lot about multifamily because DeRosa Group has pivoted. DeRosa Group's been a few different kinds of companies. It was a full-time property management company with 13 employees that ran construction in 2010 through 2015. We pivoted out of that because that just wasn't working, and so it wasn't scalable. And so we got into new ventures and decided to go to abandon property management and just get into acquisitions and asset management. And that's where we really scaled and attracted some really great A+ team members in that. So that's another thing we could talk about, is building a multifamily team, which we have right now. There's 7 of us on the DeRosa team that help us buy multifamily together. So, and a thing I would say is there are several skill sets that are required on the multifamily team, if you will. And I can certainly talk to you about that, because my wife is an expert in personality, and she's educated me about the different personality, traits that it takes to be on a real estate or a multifamily team. So that's something else we can talk about too. Okay. That's what we got. There's probably other things I can think of that we could jump into, and I'm happy to talk to y'all about anything else, Bitcoin versus real estate, whatever you guys want to get into. Really, I'm an open book, and I love chatting about this thing with people. And as Alina can testify, I just really love talking about the thing at the space. And so I can only ask is that, that you guys bring your deepest questions, and I'll help you get there. And I might engage you. I might try and go deep on you. So it just forgive me if I really dig in, because you can just tell that I care. So that's it. So I'll shut up now. And unless you guys want to throw out the questions, go ahead, Alina.
Awesome. No, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, this was an
Sure.
awesome intro. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'll start to give folks a little more chance to think about the questions.
I have a question. This is Chris, Alina. I have a question.
Hi, Chris. Okay, go ahead. Do you want to come on video, Chris?
I can come on video briefly. I am, and this is that time where I am in the middle of cooking dinner, so I will definitely come on video momentarily.
Oh, good, Chris.
But nice to meet you. I try and multitask while I'm doing this, but I have 2 questions for you, Matt, and thank you for the introduction. My first question is about when you're in this business with your wife. I'm interested in the conversations that you and your wife had about partnering together and doing this real estate business together, and sort of getting into that, because I find that to be very interesting. And my wife and I have the dialogue. One of us has more of a passion than the other, but I'm interested in those conversations that you've had. And then the second question that I had is around, um, specifically around, how do you feel that your investments in your single family and other asset classes complement your multifamily investing and vice versa?
Mm. Okay, cool. Got it. Thank you. I'm going to go backwards on that one, only because just because I can answer that first one real easy. So your question was, as I heard it, to be like, how did my experience in my smaller single family and small multifamily investing, you asked, how does it complement? I mean, it's tough because from a cash flow, there's just multiple streams of income. One makes you this much, one makes you something else, whatever, right? But what I will say is the smaller multis taught me the landlording game hands-on, and so no property manager can talk their way around my team, because we know we did it. You know, we know what they did. You know, I know exactly how to lease up apartments. And during COVID, we taught our property manager wanted to put the brakes on and say, stop. Okay, we're not going to lease up we're going to just stop leasing while we go 2 weeks to flatten the curve, you know, and all that, you know, like in the beginning of COVID. And we're like, no, you're not going to do that. You're going to keep going because people want to move, right? And people still have to move during this time. So we designed a touchless, contactless showing of apartment system business design. And we were the only ones doing showings and showing apartments during like April, May, June, July, when everybody was just chilling out and binge watching Netflix. We were leasing apartments, right? And there was also watching Tiger King, right? We were not. We were renting units. So that we designed, and I knew how to do that because I was a hands-on landlord for many, many years. I knew what systems were already existed. It's not like I invented anything. All the tech we used that we came up with already existed and we were familiar with. So we're like, no, you can get a Rently box and you can use DocuSign and you can get them to ACH. We just stitch those things together. Now, a lot of people are doing that. Almost everybody's doing touchless showings. I didn't invent that. I just said, here's tech that already is. Let's put it in. Had I not been a hands-on landlord already, I probably wouldn't have known about those things, or wouldn't have known about what it really takes or what tenants want to hear, or the marketing that you got to put out there and all that. So being a hands-on landlord on smaller properties teaches you the game of landlording at this size, at bite-sized chunks, so that you can do it this big. Multifamily landlording and things like that, it's more business oriented, it's more systems, it's more process, it's all that. But you miss some of the boots on the ground scrap, and there's nothing like, you know, the boots on the ground rush you get. And I get the cash flow is not a ton in the small stuff, but there's a lot. It's a good school of hard knocks. Even Joe Fairless owned a couple of small units and then got into big stuff, right? He doesn't own those small units now, I don't think, you know, I mean, but whatever. But it's a good stepping stone into bigger real estate and that. So I recommend it because you can learn the game. So that's first answer, my first question. Second question, your wife. Now I'm going to ask you a few questions here. You said your wife on the passion scale for real estate is not quite what yours is, right? Does that mean that she just doesn't love real estate like you do? She doesn't get all excited when she sees a 30-unit multi-listing on LoopNet like you do? Or does that mean that she doesn't get it and is giving you the stink eye right now while you're on this Zoom thing, doing the real estate thing, thinks she ought to be just focusing on cooking dinner? Does she get it?
Yeah, she gets it.
Just doesn't understand it? Or does she?
Yeah, I'd say it's
which
more
one?
of the,
Huh?
I'd say it's more of the prior, right? It
Okay.
definitely connects with it, but doesn't share that passion for it at that
Like, oh,
level
baby,
of
here's
like,
a 10-unit
yeah,
apartment building.
look at
Let's
that
go look at it.
apartment. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
That's all right.
yeah.
Does she understand real estate as a vehicle towards your goals?
Yes.
Scale of 1 to 10.
8.
Okay. That's good enough. I'll take it. They're not, your spouse is never going to be passionate about the exact same things in real estate as you are, right? If I told my wife, you know, the owner of Investor, that I found like a 4.5 or a 5 cap or a 6 cap apartment building or whatever, she'd be like, so what? but she gets more about what we can do with real estate with people. And she understands other things about the vehicle, right? She doesn't get excited about the same things that I do, but what matters is that your spouse is excited about where real estate will take you. And some people like, oh, well, my wife doesn't, want to go to the meetups or doesn't want to do this or doesn't want to do that, right? Or my husband, whatever. As long as they understand two things, real estate is going to take two things away from you to get to the end goal, right? To get to the why, to get to the promised land out here, the visioning 5-year place that you and I both are going to get to as a married couple. We're going to get here, right? The two things it's going to take from you that she needs to be okay with is time and money, right? It's going to take away time because you ought to be cooking dinner right now, but you're not. You're talking to me, right? I hear the kids in the background, the whole thing. I got an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old, right? So I get it. So I'm giving up hang time with them to hang with you guys. So that's time, right? That's the sacrifice I made and that you're making right now, right? Money. I mean, maybe you're going to syndicate, maybe do this, maybe do that, but at some point you're going to have to write a check to get on a plane to go to best ever, or you're going to have to do this or do that or whatever. So as long as your wife is okay with a reasonable amount of your time and a reasonable amount of your money coming out of your pocket in exchange for getting to the end goal, you're okay. You got me?
Awesome. Yes, got you. Right on. Thank you.
You're welcome. Cool.
Great questions, Chris. Thanks. Who wants to go next, guys?
Let's just say hi to Angel real quick. Hey, Angel, love that. Different color hair every time I see you. Thought I was going to call you out. Anybody else? Let's somebody else.
I have a question for you.
Oh, hey.
So we're working on getting our deal across the finish line.
All right.
We've gotten about half of the wires in. So the account's over $1 million. Yay. But I feel like I'm chasing wires. What's the best way to get people to make those happen?
Overraise. That's the stupid answer, but that's what the big dogs do. Is they'll just be like, first come, first serve, effers, get in here. You are going to miss. That's what's going to happen. You don't sign your paperwork, give me your wire, you're out. Right. That's what you have to do. But that's not where you're at. Right.
So we're closing. We closed December 17th.
Yeah. How short are you? Hey, we're in the tree of truth, right? It's okay.
Yeah. So we need to raise.
I'm in the same boat. I got a deal closing in 2 weeks that we don't have enough capital on either.
Yeah. So we have another 600,000 that's been committed. We have like 1.1. We have another 600,000 that's been committed.
Okay.
And we need 1.95.
Okay, hang on. So you need 195.
So 6. So we're 7. So 250 short.
Okay, you get the blue 42 hut. All these numbers. You got 1.9 is your total capital raise.
Yeah.
Okay.
1.95.
All right. How much dollars in what I call it soft commits, right? How many dollars in either yes, I'm in, or I've begun my paperwork, or maybe finished my paperwork, whatever, all of that. Forget about how much money you have for a second. In yes, I'm in and beginning the paperwork or finish the paperwork, soft commits, just paper in. How much do you have?
It was 1.84. Jason updated it and now it's 1.6.
1.6. Okay.
So that puts us at 350 down.
Okay. How many dollars do you have actually wired to you now?
Right at 1.1.
1.1. Okay. That's dollars across the table in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you close in 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
Okay. In your budget, how much of that 1.9 is capital? How much of that 1.9 do you need to buy the building? How much and how much of that is fees and capital and capital, capital improvements or capital reserves or just operating cash?
Oh, that's right. Okay. Jason's like, it's 1.9 because it's a bridge. So CapEx is part of the loan.
I got it. How much you need to close?
1.9.
No, you don't. You need a fee. Part of that's your acquisition fee. Part of that's y'all better be having cash. You like actually to like to the title company.
Yeah.
What is the wire to the title company? If you don't know that,
Jason says 1.8.
Huh?
Jason's sitting right here. He says 1.8.
How much is your acquisition fee?
100.
How much do you guys have in operating cash at closing?
Maybe 72.
72.
So $1.72 you could take off if you had to. Okay. You guys only 72 grand. How many units is this?
72.
Well, it's like $1,000 a door, right? Okay. But long story short, I don't want to, probably already gone too granular here. Here's what you want to do. You want to go and find yourself. First of all, did you do webinar? Okay. I'm going to speed round ideas. Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
Uh-huh.
Number one, bring in another capital raiser. Go find somebody else that's got a network, right? That has investors that need a negative K1 this year. Because my hope is you're going to do a cost seg, right?
Absolutely.
Have you had a cost seg guy look at the property?
Yes, Terry Judge is looking at it.
Huh?
Terry Judge is looking at it.
Okay, I know. Have Terry get you what the prelim negative is going to be. Okay.
30%.
He always says that. Okay. Is that with the carve out? That's with your 30%. That's with your 30% coming off the top.
I don't believe so.
Oh, that's not good. Okay. Well,
we don't really know. It could be. He did the prelim. They haven't done the whole thing yet, but I talked to Diana yesterday. So.
Okay. Assume that. Okay. 30% okay. That's fine. That's industry average. Industry average is like 38%. So, okay, fine. Bring in another capital raiser.
Okay.
Okay. To have them raise cost seg, negative K1, Ray Ross's Mumbai. Is it 506B or C?
It's a B.
Yeah. Okay. Bring in another capital raiser. But you can't shout it from the mountaintop, Go to your existing investors. You have 1.1 in cash in the bank right now. You need what I see to be another 700K to get the deal closed, right? Yep. And you'll close short of your fee, is what it is. You live and die, live another day, right? And you can sell that additional equity after closing to get your fee back. And I've seen not millions, a lot of syndicators will roll their fee into the deal, air quote, meaning like we didn't have money to raise our fee, so we're going to roll our fee in, and the fee goes in as phantom equity, right? So you can do that too. All right. I lost my train of thought. I had more ideas.
What was that? You want to invest? What?
No, I got, I've got other, yeah, I'm sorry. I missed that. I didn't hear what you said. Sorry. Go get a hard money lender. That's it. That was my idea. That was my next idea.
Yeah, we actually have an appointment tomorrow at 1.
Okay. You're not gonna have much to collateralize. So I would try and do a phone conversation with them, because what they're gonna want to do is like, oh, what can I put collateral on? Unless you own something free and clear, they can't do it. But I've done hard money lenders. I had one guy paid 12 plus 4. No, 15 plus 4. I'm sorry. I paid 15 plus 4 to bridge a deal. That's a long story. That was where we had, if you read my book, that's where we had $716,000 stolen from us 2 weeks before closing, through a Ponzi scheme with a 1031 exchange guy. So yeah.
That's in this one?
Shit happens, man. It's in that book. Yeah.
Okay.
See, if you had read it, you'd know.
All I really cared about was that you signed it for me.
I'd signed that and you still haven't read it? Are you kidding me? Like, he signed it. That's good enough. I'll get the ideas through osmosis. Oh God. Well, read that book in the next 2 weeks. How about that? That'll help you. Okay. Go get a hard money lender. Let's see, go to your existing investors and tell them, hey, I got good news. You've got a little more equity. Do you want to kick in? Do you want to come up 20%? Right? Call everybody down your list and ask them to kick in another 20% to just to bridge you up a little bit. Okay. Probably a combination of these things is what's going to get you to the promised land. Okay. You close when? December
17th.
Okay. Try and push it. One more week will take you a couple of days before Christmas. So see if you can get another week out of the seller. Okay. Or not for nothing, push it 2 weeks, close in between Christmas and New Year's. You're not going to raise any money after the 21st. You're not going to raise any money. People don't want to have been thinking about this stuff, But you could push to the week between Christmas and New Year's. Okay. I'll throw it out to the call. Does anybody in the call have any ideas? I mean, the call got like $500,000 laying underneath their bed and singles.
Angel, since you said it's 506B, make an emphasis to non-accredited investors.
Yes.
Tell them it's 1 in a million. There are very few deals that are 506B these days. So tell them about that, number one. Number two, call each and every one of your investors on a list and tell them that you've got a little extra equity and a little extra time. And then also make a list of things why this is a great investment and why they want to invest in this, and how this is going to help them to not necessarily protect, but put their money into something that will not lose value tomorrow, just like our currency is doing up there on Wall Street. So and just create a list of kind of positives and pros as to why this is a great investment and how this market is progressing, and the essential pros and cons about the hyperlocal market itself, what's it doing and how it's doing.
Awesome. Thank you.
There you go.
And then in terms of HML, you don't always have to take the HML route, hard money lender. There could be private people that would lend you not necessarily with 2 points and 15%, that may lend you on 7% or 8%. Right?
Yeah.
Much easier. I mean, where else are they going to get 7 or 8% in 1 month or in 3 months?
Mm-hmm.
So tell them, if you want to make an extra buck, go for it. And it's
when we did it, the collateral we gave them, and we did give them collateral. The collateral we gave them was the unsold shares. Right. Say, okay, well, we have these, I don't know, 15% of Angel's company that hasn't been sold yet. And that's your collateral. And if those shares start producing a preferred return before I sell them out, I'm going to give that preferred return to you on top of your interest. So, and if I don't pay you, then you can come and take those shares,
good selling point.
Yeah. So that's what we did. I think it was a short term. I forget I don't know. It's been a long time, but I forget what we called it. But again, a lawyer will come up with it for you. But the collateral was the shares that we hadn't sold. And as we sold those shares off and give their money back, those shares were then released and they could go to the investors that bought them long term. Okay, cool. And then you, my friend, live another day.
Yeah. We just have to get it across the finish line, right?
You get there.
You will.
Yeah.
Is there a quick other thought? Is there opportunities to go to your existing investors and see if they can introduce you to any friends or family that they have? If they
can't do it with a 506C, Scott, you can't do that, or 506B, you can't do it. With a C, you can. But because they are her pre-existing substantive relationships, or her capital raiser or her teams, you really, you gotta be careful with that. She would have had to have met them before the deal launched,
Yeah. Thanks. I know the difference between the two. I missed that part. Sorry, I didn't hear.
Yeah, it's fine. I got you.
Good point, Scott.
Yeah,
but it's a great point. I mean, we've done that. So,
well, and we've asked for it anyway because we know a ton of people, and so there's always the chance that they're going to suggest someone that we actually know, or maybe someone on our team knows. So we've tried.
I think, Angel, given my knowledge of you guys and my familiarity with you and your company and your real estate investing rocks and your network and all that jazz, right? I'd go bring in a capital raiser. I would bring in another capital raiser, probably have to give away a good chunk of that fee of yours, right? And then go do another, but again, close the deal first. Live another day. Don't worry about the fee, right? There'll be plenty more fees that are way more bigger than that in pipeline for you if you close this deal and do the right thing, right? So bring another capital raiser, maybe do another webinar, and I think you'll get it done that way. So that's what I would do. The hard money lender thing is okay. Maybe put them up, maybe get the money lined up with them as a just in case. Okay. And then go work your tail off and do it the good old fashioned way, and break rocks in the hot sun, if you will, and make it happen. Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Got it.
Point. Guys, who wants to go next?
I have a question. What is like your advice to somebody like in like their early 20s and they want to get started in like real estate investing and syndications and stuff like that?
Is that Richard?
Yeah, it's me.
Were you in the witness protection program?
No, actually, I'm at like school right now, so like I don't really know. But yeah.
No, I got you, man. Okay, so you want to know advice for an early 20 something.
Yeah, like I'm just turned 21 and like
Got you.
probably like over like quarantine, I just been like really just like been building my knowledge and stuff
Mhm.
in this. And like I'm like also starting to learn how to like underrate because that's something I really want to get good at. So I was kind of like wondering like what should I sort of kind of do now because like for me, like I conversations I've been having with my mom and stuff, like I've been getting sort of kind of getting impatient because I kind of want to buy or look to buy like sort of kind of like a duplex or like yeah, but basically like a duplex to basically get my hands wet and dirty so I can get like build that experience and stuff. So I kind of want to know
I got you.
if that's kind of smart or not really.
Absolutely. It's definitely smart. Means, you know, buying especially if you're going to live in one, are you going to live in one and rent out the other?
Yeah.
That's what I recommend that as the first move to everyone to, if you're going to buy and do a house hack, right? All day long, right? Especially at your age, not for nothing, because that's just a great way to get in, to get something going on right now. What part of the world do you live in?
I live in New York.
Yeah, man. Well, you can move to Jersey. Are you okay to move to Jersey or Staten Island?
Right now, because I can really do anything because
You're
almost
right
I
about that.
graduate.
You're 21
I
years
can
old. What
grad-
else you got? What's holding you down, man? You know,
What's holding me back? Well, really school.
nothing.
Well, right now school because like I graduate actually this year, and then like my plan, I just tell you, my plan is to go to law school because I'm also trying to build my own company because I want to have a real estate investing company and a law firm all in one because I know like you can't really do anything with like, other lawyers, so I kind of want to combine it like both of them and make it like sort of kind of like a double-edged sword, so kind of like I could just go. So I don't know.
You're thinking
Yeah.
big. I love it. Right. That's all good. Just you're going to be prohibited a bit on price in the markets that you're buying in, unless you go to law school somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
you go to
actually
law school
looking.
in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and you can
Yeah, that's
buy
actually
you
where
can
I'm
buy a
looking to go to
duplex
law
or something
school.
like. What's that?
That's actually where I'm looking to go to law school because I'm trying to
Did
go
I
to
for real name the place?
Huh?
I
No, no,
named
no.
that. I just made that up. Altoona,
Yeah, I'm
Pennsylvania.
very serious. Yeah, I'm trying to
Really?
go to Lenovo. Yeah.
Oh, okay. At Villanova, that's in Philly.
Oh, crap.
That's expensive
Wow.
too.
Oh, yeah. But hopefully they give me a lot of money because like I don't have any like student debt right now,
All
luckily.
right. Okay. Yes. So here's your two options, right? Yes, house hack, but and I get that. I hear a lot of ideas. Okay. I heard brokerage, law school, and all that. That's good. I heard underwriter want to get going and do a deal, right? And I thought you were about to tell me you want to go buy a multifamily apartment building or whatever. And as an
Oh, that's
underwriter,
actually, I'm sorry. Well,
huh?
that's actually I was like originally thinking before, but like I know for like my experience, I don't have much of like a track record to actually like get to do like a multifamily deal. So I kind of wanted to like, well, my original plan was like the money that I'll have for my the duplex. Let's say if I was to sell it in like probably let's say 2 to 3 years, I was gonna use that money as like sort of kind of like leverage to actually show that I can like that I'm very like
Yeah.
invested into like that deal. So I don't know. That was kind of like
I got you. You've got to put one foot in front of the other, right? And it's okay to paint the brush on what life's going to look like 5 years from now, right? But you got to figure what you're going to do in the next 6 months, right? So if I were you, I would like map out and map out like first of all, let go of any story you have going on that you're too young to get going, right? Just put that away. Not true. Put it down. Okay. So because anybody on this call right now wishes they got going at 21 years old. Anybody, right? Unless there's somebody on this call younger than 21, which is possible, right? But everybody in this call right now is envying you for drinking the Kool-Aid of real estate and figuring this thing out as early as this, okay? So you've got all the time in the world. You don't have to, I want to be this big by next year or whatever. Don't get sucked into the trap of thinking that you want to be a millionaire by 24, okay? This business is a marathon. And believe me, from somebody who's been inside the pinball machine of real estate for a long time, right? That you bounce off a lot of walls as you work your way up. Okay. So I would develop a 5-year plan, right? That's got the brokerage law school. Good idea. Okay. I know a few people that do that, and a little tip that if you become licensed in Pennsylvania for your law degree, as I understand it, that automatically gives you a broker's license. If you practice law, you can start a brokerage underneath your law degree, that the two are married. Right.
Okay.
Okay. So look into that. So you don't have to
Definitely
go get your brokerage license and go to broker school and go get your law degree. You get your law degree, you're done. That's it.
All right.
Okay. Now, because I know that because I have my lawyer that I use is also a broker, and he didn't go to broker school. He just got it because he's a lawyer. Anyway, you lay out your 5-year plan and put the house hack thing in there. Maybe try and dabble a bit and do some underwriting for larger syndicators. Put yourself out on Indeed. Put yourself out on some of the job sites, like for job shares and things like that. That, hey, I'll underwrite your real estate deal, whatever. So you can get some exposure to try underwriting. Okay. So try a few things on, but lay out a 5-year plan that's going to be where you want to go, and stick to it, and understand this thing's a marathon. Okay.
All right.
So, and there's plenty you can do to get going. So, but you're certainly on the right track. You're thinking the right way, but the duplex, I think, is your next move.
Okay. Oh, I have one more question.
Please.
So like, what is like your advice on like really to how to find like a mentor? So to kind of like, I would say like help, I want to say like hold my hand, but sort of kind of like prevent me from making like I would say like the mistakes that they made.
Okay. Say that again.
All right. So basically like
I'm thinking.
like how do I like find a mentor, like I would say like right now per se, to like sort of kind of like I would say like I was like basically to guide me and like guide me from I would say not making
Okay.
like basically the same mistakes that they did early on.
I got you. Yeah. Okay. There's only 2 ways you can find a mentor, right? You can pay them, right? You can go out and pay for a mentor. You join a mastermind program. There's a bajillion of them out there right now, right? Yeah, you can. So you can buy into a mentorship, mastermind, coaching, whatever you want to call it, right? Or you can go find someone who you look up to that's successful, and find a way to invaluably add value to their business in exchange for them giving you some exposure and some coaching and some mentorship, right? That is a more personal, finding the right fit kind of thing. You got to kind of just keep putting it out there and see who shows up. Don't go on these forums, be like, hey, who wants to be my mentor? Right. Like not this forum. I'm saying like, don't go on like Bigger Pockets and put, hey, I want a mentor. Who wants to be a mentor? Right. So you got to find the right fit for that. And I think that, there are plenty of successful people that would allow you to pick their brain a little bit. Like a lot of people on this call would allow you to just like, hey, just, give me like 15-20 minutes of their time to just pick, like I'm doing right now. Right. So, but this is different than mentorship. This is just giving you some exposure, but it does give you what you want, which is preventing you from making the same mistakes that we made. All the advice I'm giving you are all based on mistakes that I've made, either successes I've made or mistakes I've made. So I'm giving you what you're asking for. So if that's what all you really want is somebody that's been around the block a few more times, to tell you what not to do, so you don't step in the same snake pit that we did, just come to more Zoom calls and face-to-faces like this and listen. People think that you need this like guru to tell you everything that you need to know. But the answer is, Richard, you really don't. You just need to listen up when people that have been around a little bit start telling their battle scars and battle stories, or just giving you advice when you ask them questions about what you ought to do. So I don't know if you need like this walk on water mentor, maybe you do. I've never, believe it or not, I've never had a mentor. I've had a lot of people I look up to that have given me specific advice on things. And I asked a lot of questions of people that knew more than I did. Right. So I think it's better than a mentor because it's not one person. And one last thing, there's no one person that you're going to grow up to be. You're going to grow up to be yourself 5 years from now. I saw that Matthew McConaughey book. Matthew McConaughey's hero is himself 5 years from now, like the person he's becoming as he evolves. Right. So, I would say that nobody out there is going to be the person you want to grow into, but people have certain traits and attributes. So find different traits and attributes you like about different people, and just ask them just for their battle stories or whatever. And that, so that's my 2 cents. Does that help?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Cool.
Awesome advice. Thank you, Richard, for your question. I see Jaman has his hand up. Jaman, you want to go next?
Sure, thank you.
Hey, Jaman.
Hi. So I'm a newbie, and I'm looking to actually lend some money that I have saved up to. I check out a local real estate meetup group here and there, and so I've heard a couple of guys there at the meetup their experience with doing fix and flips. So I'm thinking to like lend some money that I have, or tap into a HELOC or 0% credit card that I have. And I have options, but my question is there any special like legal documentation I should have drawn up? Like I know about sort of like a promissory note. Should I also be on a mortgage in case?
No, man, just give them the money and shake their hand. You're good. Yeah.
I guess like, I don't know if there's like some kind of like, templates out there that I can, review to.
No, there are. I hear what you're looking to do. I get it. I would rather, okay. Here's some rules of the road. Lawyers are cheap. Lawyers are expensive until you need them, and then they're invaluable, right? So I would hire a lawyer to probably for a couple grand. It's not going to cost you much to write you up a promissory note and a mortgage agreement that's really good, that's ironclad, that you scrutinize. It's like, no, I wanted to say this, not that, right? It gives you tons of collateral. It's got some teeth to it, right? And then obviously you want it in Microsoft Word. It's like, I want to be able to use this thing over and over and over again. Just promise them you're not going to sell it, right? Like I want to use this over and over and over again. So it's don't take this the wrong way, but it's kind of penny wise and pound foolish to want to like, go on like, rocket lawyer and go and buy $100 loan agreement, right? I mean, Alina uses PPMs you bought off the internet for $100, right? For your multi-million-dollar syndication deals, right? I mean, yeah, we all do. Yeah. We just go to ppms.com and get them. No, we hire lawyers for these things because there's more money at stake than it's worth putting at risk, and than just to have a lawyer do it. And just, you can have it personalized and tailored to you. So go to a lawyer and have them do it. A good real estate lawyer that isn't going to bend you over too bad and whatnot. So that's number one. Number two, if you're going to get into private lending, start with collateralized loans, okay, and work your way up into more creative spaces and whatnot from there. So a couple things: you get your own cash. You talk about a HELOC; those are all good places. I lend money off my HELOC and that, so I do that. The one thing that I took pause to is the 0% interest credit card thing, and I've done 0% interest credit cards in my earlier years. I'm familiar with them. They're like little hand grenades with the pen pulled out. You're just kind of holding it, waiting on the hand grenade to explode, right? So I would be careful with those. You can win with them because when the rate's going to go up. Just, I could what if you on that, like, well, what if you invest in somebody's deal and they decide they're going to, disappear with your money, or they're not going to pay you back. And then you've got this thing that's going to go to 18% at some point in the future. So I don't know if I would start with that. And the other thing I would say as a caveat as well, the 0% interest credit cards can be, if the zero can be expensive, because you're either going to have to pay a broker to get them for you, because they can, like a lot of the brokers that sell those 0% interest credit cards charge 6, 7, or 8% of what they get you approved for. If you go online and do your own thing, you're probably only going to get like 10, 20, 30,000. Am I right? Is that about what you're looking at?
I have a couple already. I have 2 combined. I have 70,000.
You've 70. Did you go through a broker, or did you do it yourself?
No, it's my own.
Is it through an LLC or your own personal name?
Personal. And that's another thing. Should I be doing this through personal name, or do I need to set up an LLC to lend? Should I send up?
You absolutely lend the money through an LLC. Absolutely lend the money through for a number of reasons. I mean, if there's a slip and fall, it could fall back on you. But here's why: if you end up doing it in your personal name and then you have to foreclose and you have to take it back, now you own it in your personal name, right? So you want it, just for a number of reasons, you want to own it in LLC. Just, you've got a spacing between you and the asset of that LLC, and the LLCs are cheap to set up. So same lawyer will do it for you. They give you a package deal, So you get 70K in the credit card. What's in the HELOC? How much are you looking to put to work loan wise?
Not much. It's my first time doing it, so I was
got it.
thinking like maybe 35 to 50, just to start out.
Okay. It's hard to go
like a
smaller
small
than
fix and
50.
flip job like that guy. This guy, I have a couple of guys that are,
Yeah.
give me an opportunity. So
Just get collateral, put a lien on the property, do a back title search, get a good title company to make sure that you're not his like ninth lien, on the property, make sure the title's acceptable for putting that in. And if you're not in first position, you should be charging a reasonable rate. You know what you want, what rate you want to charge?
well, in my head, I'm thinking 11 to 12%, but I don't know if that's too crazy or not.
Especially for second position, that's about right. For 50K, it sounds like a lot of money, but it's not. 12% is $500 a month in cash, in checks that they have to write you. Couple of guidance. Don't they're going to tell you that they don't want to make monthly payments, especially fix and flippers, right?
Yeah.
You want to tell them you need monthly payments because that's your guide on the health of the deal. When I'm borrowing money, I tell them I don't want to make monthly payments. When I'm lending money, I tell them I always have to have monthly payments. You also want to get points because that juices your returns a lot. I mean, especially if they borrow the money for 6 months and you get 2 points at 12%, you just made 16% annualized. Sorry, I did the math really quick. Sorry, but points help a lot, and you want the points up front when they generate the loan, right? Yeah, it sounds like you got your head around it. But I wouldn't go any less than 12 if you're in second position. You can go into the high single digits if you're in first, but nobody's probably going to want to put you in first at 50K. And you can scale up to first position, first position loans. So
I think they're gonna have hard money lenders financing the rest. So I think they're probably be in the first position.
Yeah. That's okay.
And if I set up an LLC, am I allowed to transfer my personal funds from like my lines of credit into the LLC?
If you're the owner of the LLC, sure. If you're the only owner of the LLC, then yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's it. I guess I gotta look at, if anyone's on here is a lawyer or something and could leave your your information, I'd be happy to,
I got a website that you want to go to. You can find a great lawyer. You ready?
Sure. Let me
write this down. Write this down. Ready?
Yeah.
G O O
Google.
G.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but to be honest, I even tried calling a couple of real estate attorneys in my neighborhood here in North Bergen, New Jersey. I can't get anyone to call me back.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if it's because it's holiday time and that they're busy, so that's why
Yeah.
And these guys want to
people in
close
North
next
Jersey
week,
suck.
so
Everybody in North Jersey is too busy. Like you need to. Yeah. All joking aside, I would call a South Jersey lawyer because they have less book of business. Like they have less going on. They likely will be more willing to help you. It doesn't have to be in your own backyard. You're gonna use the title company's gonna file the lien for you. It doesn't have to. The lawyer doesn't have to be next door from you.
Okay.
Yeah, this has to be licensed in the state. It to be licensed in the state of New Jersey or wherever the loan's going to be, right? So the likely you probably going to lend in New Jersey.
Yes.
Okay, it's got to be just a Jersey lawyer.
Okay.
Sorry for the Google joke.
No, it's okay. All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Good luck, man.
Sharing your time with us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Very nice. Thank you.
Fun.
Linda, you had your hand up next. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. I need.
There you are.
I need some brainstorming about this property that I've been thinking about selling for a while. Here in San Diego, it's a condo, it's a townhouse, it's a 3-bedroom townhouse. It's a nice townhouse, but it's in a ghetto neighborhood with a very bad
San Diego does not have ghettos, Linda. How dare you? It's a beautiful town. You're 70 degrees all year round, man. What are you talking about?
And we attract homeless like crazy.
I know.
Just because of the nice
33% of the U.S. homeless population lives in California.
Well, we have nice weather. If I'm going to be homeless, I'll be here in San Diego.
I know. Why wouldn't you go to California? Okay, so you got a condo, 3-bedroom, and on the other side of the train tracks. What do you owe on it? Do you have any? What?
It's actually 50% owned by my IRA and 50% personally.
Can you
Um,
do that? All right, I guess you did, so I guess it doesn't matter. So you have 50% personal. Okay. Is it, do you have any debt or is it just 50-50?
it's just 50-50,
Okay, what'd you pay for it?
100K.
100K. Now here we go. Now let's have some fun. What do you think it's worth right now? Put a pinky next
So-
to your mouth when you say it.
So what happened is the homeowner association is a small complex. It's about like 30 houses, and mostly it's owned by two big investors. And
Okay.
the homeowner association is really bad. They only have like 5% in cash, in the bank. So I can only
What
sell it
percent of it? What percent of that complex is owned by the investors?
like 90%.
Yeah, that's why it's only got any cash because they're
Right.
they're trying to have they made you an offer yet?
Make an offer?
Has
The investor?
have the investors made you an offer yet?
No, they don't. They are actually I befriended them, and they know that they get it also very low at the time, so they know that I will not sell it to them. So my problem is I can only sell it for cash.
Why?
I might get Redfin only offer 250. If I got maybe from investor, I might get 300 for it. I'm thinking of a replacement property in Florida, retirement community. I want to separate it. I want to, it's my personal just 1031 it and
Yeah.
later on live in it for 2
Can I go back to
years.
something? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
are you on the deed you have on this property? Is this deeded into an LLC?
No,
Okay. How are you holding on the deed? Is it like a pari passu or is it like a tenants in common? Like, how are you deeded with your IRA and you personally owning half of this property?
I think jointly owned, something like that.
I'd look into it. Okay. You've got to find a way to separate yourself from the IRA, unless you want you and the IRA to keep on doing business together and go down to Florida and buy together.
No, I think I can do that. The money is just after escrow. I think it will 50% of it will go to the IRA and 50% will go to personal, because
Okay.
that's how the deed is.
Okay. I don't know if I would 1031 if I were you. If I were you, I would just sell it. The IRA's money is going to be tax deferred anyway, right?
Right.
Take that, put it in your pocket, get on down the road on half of the IRA, right?
Right.
Half the profit for the IRA. Then you're talking about if you sell for 250, right? Minus selling cost, there you go. That you're going to be making 125,000, 75,000. You're going to make about 75K in taxable income plus any depreciation recapture, that kind of thing. That's not 75K, even in a high tax bracket, is not that big of a deal. And what you can do is you can take that capital and roll it into another deal in the same tax year and do a cost segregation study on whatever it is you invest in on the other side. And I'm getting all complex, right? But I don't see much of that revenue that you have on that sale being taxable. And a 1031 sounds crazy complex. And I would even challenge that you could do a 1031 because you're supposed to, the second leg of the 1031 is supposed to be the same deed holder as the first one. And so the IRS may cry foul ball and say, you're supposed to own the new property as the IRA and you personally together, which kind of seems like a weird thing that I would want to untangle that if I were you.
I see.
Right. So I would sell it and pay the IRA out and then do a tax leveraged vehicle on the second leg for yourself. So that could be a cost seg is the easiest thing to do. You familiar with cost segregation studies and negative K1s and that kind of thing?
No, I don't, but I can Google it.
There you go. Is that same website that's got the lawyers tells you about that kind of thing too. It's amazing. So, in essence, if you take that 100 and it's about
Cost segregation, and what's the other thing? Something K.
A cost segregation study and
1031 exchange.
1031 exchange. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, K1, a negative K1, but forget
Negative
that.
K1.
A negative K1 is just a result of doing a cost segregation study. Okay. And it only exists. Again, I'm thinking it that way because I'm thinking like if you invested with somebody like me and Erlina or Angel or whatever, as a syndicator, we give you a negative K1 to wash out passive losses you have elsewhere. But if you own the property yourself, all those tax losses are yours. So cost segregation study is what you want to research. In essence, what it is that you buy a new property and that new property typically gets to get depreciated over 27.5 years. You follow?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So the new property, let's say you want to buy to Florida. Got it. Oh, by the way, this is your primary residence, is it? This is a rental property?
Rental.
Okay. Let's say you take the 125K, which is what you would get, and you would get 50K of your original money back to personal plus 75,000 in profit. So you're walking out the door with 125,000 to put to work. You could take that and buy a $400,000 asset with debt in Florida. You with me so far?
Right.
Okay. Take that. Now, it gets complex, but forget about the land allocation and stuff like that for a second. But let's just say that 400,000 is the value of the new property. The IRS lets you write that down over 27.5 years through depreciation, right? Each
Right.
year you can say 1/27th of this property went down in value. 1/27th. You follow depreciation schedules, you know what I'm talking about?
Right. Right. Uh-huh.
Okay. The problem is everything in that property is not 27.5 years old. And the IRS knows that. They know that those light fixtures, that carpet, the flooring, the HVAC unit, the name it, almost most things in a property are not 27.5. They will not have a 27.5 year life to them. So what they do is like, okay, we get it. You got us. We'll let you write down certain things, certain fixtures at 5 years and certain fixtures at 15 years. Okay. So they will pull those two things out, okay, of the 27.5 year schedule, right?
Mhm.
And then you can write the 5-year things down over 5 years and the 15-year things down over 15 years. So you can write those fixtures off faster. Alina's best friend, Donald Trump, came up with a rule. I'm teasing you, Alina, you know. Sorry.
He's my best friend.
I know he is. I know. We've had plenty of conversations. He's real estate investors buddy, right? So he came up with this great thing, which is awesome. That allows you to take those 5 years and 15. Again, it would take a real estate investor to come up with a rule like this. So they let us take the 5 years and the 15 years, and you can write them off in the first year. So you can fast forward all that into the first year of ownership. It's called some people call it bonus depreciation. Some people call it accelerated depreciation. And you can do it, thankfully, for another couple of years until 2024, right? So bottom line is you fast forwarding all your 5-year life fixtures and your 15-year life fixtures requires you to do this engineering study called a cost segregation study. Go through the property and they count up all those things. Then you can write them off in the first year, and that enables you to have an enormous negative loss in the first year of ownership. So that means is that $400,000 property, right? You'll probably get to write off, I don't know, 100 grand probably in the first year of ownership. That washes out your $75,000 gain that you just had on your sale of your other property. So you have a taxable gain in 1 year, but then you have a monster taxable loss in the next year. And the IRS, regardless of your tax situation, allows you to take that passive loss and wash out the passive gain. Okay. It's better than a 1031 exchange because you can do it that you're not tied to 45 days, 180 days. You don't have to hold in the same title. I don't care about any of that. You could sell that property, take the profit, and invest with a syndicator that's giving you a negative K1, right? The negative loss. You with me so far?
Okay. Yeah. Those. I follow you. Another thing that really make me hard to decide, kind of, is like, yeah, I'm in San Diego. If I'm gonna get something in Florida, I'm aiming at a retirement community at Florida. However,
I don't know that market.
I see. And the other thing is,
I know there's a lot of retired people that go to Florida. You know,
right.
I mean, I just don't know I don't know if you're going to spend 400,000 on you have to, to me, I think you have to buy a multi to make cash flow at that dollar amount in Florida, unless you did like a short-term rental. But if you want to buy in a retirement community, I don't know if you're going to make that kind of rental income. So I think it goes back to rental income, you know.
Yeah,
So.
Being here in San Diego, we have like 10 rains a year. So yeah,
Y'all get hurricanes either.
yeah. My
You guys
mom
don't
was
have
like,
alligators, hurricanes,
right. My
humidity,
mom
any of
was
those
like,
awful
do you
things they
really
have in
wanna,
Florida.
do you really wanna deal with all those? And
Mhm.
plus, so yeah, that's kind of my question. I don't know. You are in New Jersey, so
Why Florida? Is it because you want to live there? I mean, Florida does not seem, a retirement community in Florida seems where I would want to move at some point, but it's not a place that I am thinking, oh yeah, I would invest there. I would buy for 400K. I would do a small multi in Dallas. I would do probably get you into a duplex in Austin, or a duplex or triplex in Austin or something like that. I would buy a reasonable small multi in a big rising market that's got a lot of room, one of the top 5 markets in the US. That's what I would do.
I
You know,
see.
if you want, if that's what you want. I think that you're tying in your personal desires on places you maybe would like to go.
Right.
Versus,
Sure.
right. Yeah.
That's why I say,
You
I
gotta
wanna
disconnect those two things. And where you want to invest and where you want to live can be two different things.
I see, but it is a way to. There is a way, if it is possible, can go through 1031, and then I rent it out for a few years, and then later on I live in it. It can become personal, correct?
I think that becomes a taxable event.
Yeah,
I think that may become a taxable event if you do that again. But here we go. Here comes the disclaimer. I'm not a CPA.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be leery of doing all this tax law stuff and 1031 stuff and all that jazz and trying to avoid all these gains. Honestly, not for nothing, Linda, if that's what you want, if you really want to live in the place, then I would just take the tax on the chin and do what you want with the money. Cause then there's not that tie,
I see.
Yeah. So, and that's the other thing. I mean, money's made to be enjoyed, right? So you could just sell, pay the man, pay taxes, and do whatever you want with money, but I wouldn't wait to sell because I don't know how much longer this carousel is going to go. So I would sell as soon as you can on that property in San Diego.
Good point, Matt. Good point. Thank you.
Thanks.
I want to give a chance.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll give it. Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
Because I do have to wrap this up in about 10 minutes for my next meeting. But anyway, I see Scott has his hand up. Go ahead, Scott.
Thank you very much. And Matt, thanks for your time today.
Sure, Scott, no problem.
As you're raising capital for this next deal, do you typically raise for a fund and then you're going to buy multiple properties, or do you raise dollars for a particular deal that's already been identified and in the works?
We typically raise for one-off, right? We are doing our very first portfolio deal. Like we have 5 apartment, believe it or not, Alina, check this out. I got 5 apartment buildings under contract all of a sudden, I mean, we were only able to pull in 1 deal this whole year. And all of a sudden it's like every fish hook I had in the pond, all of a sudden, got a bite, right? So we have 5 buildings under contract. And so we're going to portfolio package them up, Scott, and do, it's different than a fund, right? So it's not like a blind fund where it's just like, oh, we're going to go buy whatever we want, or go buy under these parameters and go buy things that make sense under these goals. It's a portfolio deal. It's kind of what Praxis, like what Brian Burke does, where, like, we're going to buy these assets. Here they are. These are the ones. This is what we're buying. So that's typically what we're going to be doing there. And I think you're going to see us grow towards that. And that we do have another, like a blind fund. It's like a small portfolio based fund that's just doing fix and flip lending and that kind of thing. But that's a different animal. So we've done one-off. And I find that from an investor perspective, identifying exactly where the sticks and bricks are going to be, like we're going to buy that property right there, that one in Charlotte, that one. In this market, this city, whatever, goes over much better than we're going to invest under these parameters, unless you've got just a Mondo track record. And I find that one-offs have gone better in the market.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's helpful. And the situation I have in front of me is I have 3 investors and myself in a building. We're doing a cash out refi. We're actually getting 100% of our cash back that we put into the building.
Boom.
In 4 years. And now
Congrats, man.
Thank you. And then I'm going to put that towards the next acquisition. Plus, they want to throw more money in the pot. I want to put more money in the pot. And I have 1 or 2 other investors. And so I think I can gather $1 million, but I don't have the property identified yet. So it may be 2, but maybe this works in this instance because it's existing investors that I do have a track record with.
Yeah.
I don't have the property identified yet.
You can do that. Sorry to cut you off. I wouldn't commit to a pref though. If you're going to do that, that's fine. Just, you can either, okay, we're going to build this fund and I'm going to call the money up when I need it, or you can commit to you can commit to like, we'll have the deal identified within a certain time frame or something like that. Right. So that would be my 2 cents is that I would do it, but identify quick and don't commit to a pref until you got something under contract.
Right. Okay. And then the last part of this quick question was, where would you recommend I park that cash in the meantime? If, let's say we're probably going to acquire something in the next 5 months and everybody's okay with me holding the cash until then. Let's assume that.
Didn't Angel ask the question earlier about where to find some cash? So here's the answer, where to park it.
Just, I mean, I would park it with another real estate investor that's got a 3-month need. That's willing to pay a heavy rate of return, or willing to pay like a rate of return that makes sense for you with some collateral. Honestly, that's what I would do. You know,
that's a great.
God, this is real estate meetup. This is where.
That's why we do this, man. You know.
No.
So I happen to hear a few people on this call talking about lending money. I happen to hear a few people on this call that need a bridge, that need a little bit of money one way or another, right? You know, not for nothing, man. Reach out to each other. You know. Yeah, that's what I would do, Scott. Just, you know, get the right collateral and get the right terms that you'll get the money back in 2, 3, 4 months. There's plenty of people that need a 2, 3, 4 month bridge. I've lent and borrowed 2 to 3 more 4-month money many times. I've been on both sides of that equation. So
great. Thanks, Matt.
You're welcome, brother. Good luck and congrats again on the Burr thing that you made work. You're well on the way.
Thank you.
Boris had a hand up real quick. I'll try and speed round you real quick, Boris. What do you got?
Boris will be the final one, and then we'll wrap it up. Go ahead, Boris.
I'm going to give you one word answer, Boris.
Yes. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Alina. This brainstorm is phenomenal. I appreciate it. My question is also on this theme of 1031s. I'm interested in selling a couple of rentals. I'm also in the Northeast Jersey area.
Okay.
And I want to list them as soon as possible. And I want to 1031 into I don't know if I could do a syndication, maybe a Delaware statutory. I'm trying to learn more about that process, but I want.
No, don't even bother. People, Alina and I probably get phone calls. You probably get phone calls all the time, Alina. People want to do a tick into your deals, right? Doing 1031. It's a pain in the butt. It's a big stack of paperwork. And unless you're bringing probably 7 figures to the table, syndicators probably aren't going to want to bother with the ramifications it would take to do that. A few questions. Are the properties owned under one entity? Is the deed in one name on all 3 properties?
The deed is tenants in common with my wife.
Okay. You're better off selling. And if you want to roll into a syndicator and go 100% passive, selling and rolling in with a syndicator that's got a reasonable tax loss. Again, industry average is 38%, right? Negative year 1. Okay. So I would consider I would consider that over anything else if you really want to go passive into a syndication, or if you've got a significant amount of cash coming out. I mean, what do you estimate your total profit on sale post closing to be?
Probably 1.2 million.
Okay. Got it. So it's significant. I would call a syndicator, tell them what you're in the middle of, and say, can I do a JV with you? And that's a different thing. That's like, I want to bring all 1.2 million into your deal, and I want to be your only investor. It's not a syndication, nobody else at the table. Your cash goes full in, and they go and find a 30, 40, 50 unit that 1.2 is able to take. I bought a 49 unit a while ago with $1 million and that. So 1.2 probably in like more rural parts of the world, you know, not around Manhattan, but, you know, within like a 2 or 3 hour drive of Manhattan. You know, look in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, by the way. That's a good market. That's drivable for you, and the prices are a third of what you're used to seeing. And it's a good economy. So anyway, find a syndicator that's willing to do something like that, where they become the operator, you become all the money, and you can figure out with a good lawyer how to 1031 all that money into their thing through a tenant in common. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. But also consider the negative K1 thing through just rolling the money with a syndicator and taking it on the chin and maybe paying a little bit of tax, but then having the money freed up to do whatever you want with.
No, that's an excellent idea.
Yeah.
So if I roll it with the syndicator, I get to enjoy the depreciation, the accelerated depreciation
Sure.
as well.
If you roll
I
over the
have to be a-
syndicator, you can enjoy solar depreciation. If you roll it into a JV where you're the only partner with the syndicator, you can enjoy that too. But you are handcuffed to the 1031 rules that you have to identify in 45 days and you have to close in 180. It's a very tight timeline, but you can make it happen. I personally would just pay a little bit of tax in exchange for the freedom of having having a little more freedom with my money. So
I hear you. And then to enjoy the depreciation, I have to be a GP on the syndication. I can't be a
yes.
limited.
No,
Okay.
you can be either one.
Okay.
LPs, my LPs get tax law. Everybody, if you are an owner, that's what's beautiful about LLCs. LLCs pass through losses, they pass through gains. So if you're an owner of the LLC as an LP or GP, you get negative losses.
Boris,
Okay.
the main thing is to make sure that syndications allow TICs, tenancy in common. If they don't allow TICs, they won't take you in for 1031.
Yeah, but I wouldn't go to a syndicator with that and want to be a part of a stack of investors. I would want to be the only investor with that kind of money if you're going to 1031 exchange in, or you could just sell it, put the money in your pocket, and try and invest with a group of syndicators. That's what's beautiful about that. You could spread it around. You could give like 100 grand to 10 syndicators. You know, that's why I would do. I would just sell them, take the money, and spread it out with a bunch of syndicators that have negative K1 losses in their syndications.
Excellent, thank you. Matt, if folks want to reach out to you, can I post your company website?
Sure, please do. It's
DeRosa
derosagroup.com, DEROSAGROUP.com, derosagroup.com. People can reach out to us for all kinds of stuff, and they can pick up a copy of my book there too. So
Yep, guys, I posted Matt's company website in the chat. Feel free to grab it and reach out through the website. Matt, this has been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much again for coming back. And I hope next time, just like we did a few years ago.
I'll do it now. I'll do it in person, but I'll be on time next time.
In the city, in a bar.
When I come next time in person, I'll promise I'll be on time. I'll come up really, really early and we'll hang out beforehand. Okay. Real quick highs. Hi, Seth Bradley. Hi, Esther. Hi, anybody else that has their camera off that I can't see. And Angel, great talking to you as always. I love your vibe, man. And you'll make it happen.
Matt, we love you. Thank you so much.
Love you guys too. Thanks.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
See you, Seth. See you, Esther. Bye.